It's Nancy with Garden Scroll, and it's New Year's Eve. So we'll be beginning 2019 tomorrow. Happy New Year to everybody. I still haven't got all my decorations down, of course. I usually leave those up quite a while after New Year's, but hopefully we'll have them down soon, because like I told you before, I am going to go ahead and have a partial or maybe completely new knee put in. So, but we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated if I can. I'm a little apprehensive. We actually had 4 December deaths in our family in the last few years. So I'm feeling a little antsy about it. But I know it has to be done. I think I told you before, I know I did, that if you just keep using, because I used my fingers until that soreness is not nearly as bad as it was, but the cartilage or whatever, the damage, the arthritis is done in my knee is too great for anything but a new knee replacement. So that's another thing about as you're getting older. At least now we can get new replacements, when our forefathers and mothers were not able to do that, and they just had to continue on in that pain. So hopefully this will be a good thing. I wanted to tell you that we are doing the post from the 2018 garden still, even though right now we are in the soon-to-be 2019 garden. But I hope you enjoy the whole season of 2018 in the garden. That's my plan, and then we'll see what we can do this next year too. Well, I decided to come out and take a stroll through my garden, and it's not going to be long till we're going to have some things going. This is a pot that held rose moss last year, and there'll be little seeds that'll put little rose moss will be coming up. And oh, look, way down under there, can you see that pretty little hen and chicks there? There's so much needs to be done. I did a few pots, and then my husband and I both ended up with the flu, and then I ended up with a double ear infection that I still have not got over yet. Oh, look at this. Is one of the items my brother painted for me. I'll be so glad when I do get over this. I can just hear myself echoing in my head, and I can hear myself breathing when I'm not talking. It's just like a terrible echo. Kind of feel like if I could stick something in there and jab it out, it might feel better, but I'm no better than that. But oh, looky here, this looks nice too, this today. There's all of this will have to be redone, all of it, but it'll be wonderful, because we'll be going to visit all the pretty nurseries, and maybe I can take you around to some of them. We have some nice nurseries. I love Clinton because I love Atwood's. We were there just yesterday, and I got a tiller. I've actually never owned a tiller before, but I'm pretty desperately needing one right now. This bunch of pots here, I want to move it. They didn't quite get enough sun for the vines that I put up them to do well last year, and I want to try that again. I also really would like to get the garden where it's not quite so intense to take care of it. It's getting enough of my shrubs and bushes enough that I don't really have to have all these little things. And as you can see, this one here is falling totally apart. But actually, I'm not really ready to let it go yet either. That was one thing I looked at Atwood's for. That's where I got this one. As you can tell, the top part of that one has been replaced, and it's still in good shape. So I really just need to get another big bottom part of it, and I probably will keep that one in the garden at least another year or so. I have to show you what I found out here. And we're coming up on them right now, which just still looks terrible because I need to clean out all the old dead stuff. But in the midst of the old dead stuff, if you will just take a little peek right here, that's a Lenten rose. I kind of came out here with the hopes of finding that or some hyacinths poking their heads up. It looks like I'm just can't wait to get back out here, doesn't it? But that's not really true. It's so much hard work that and I'm having trouble with my knees and different things. But I mean, I'm still wanting. I would have went ahead and had knee surgery, except that I'm not ready to leave the garden for a year or whatever. I definitely want to take care of the garden. Looky here. Here's coming up. These will be daffodils. It won't be long. They'll be in bloom. All these little pots that were pretty last year. All nothing but dead debris now. There might possibly be some seeds in there though. I kind of need to leave my pots a little longer and see what would come back from seed, but I usually get anxious when I see all the pretty things at the nurseries and I just go ahead and redo the pots. Which is good too, because lots of times if you wait for the seeds, it doesn't get full and pretty and lush until late in the season. But on the other hand, there's lots of things that actually look better from seed. I find that celotias do. When I get the little celotia with the fluffy heads at the nurseries and I bring them home, they just kind of sit there and then the stem will get damp and I'll lose it. But sometimes they have a little enough seed there that I'll end up having one come back from seed. And when they come from seed, I guess they get used to our winds and elements of Oklahoma gardening. But they go ahead and live, and some of them can get, I've had them over 4 foot tall before, so pretty. This is one of the little garden art pieces that my brother painted for me too. I have so much that he left me, and I know he wanted to leave that as his mark in my garden, and I'm so grateful to have had a brother like I had. I wish he were still here enjoying life, but I do believe he's enjoying life in heaven a lot more than any of us can imagine down here. Nobody that's ever been to heaven would ever want to come back here, I'm sure of that. That God has been good to us, and there are certain things I'm definitely anxious about to get back out here. I certainly hope my ear will start feeling better on both sides actually, and just be able to hear without hearing an echo all the time. Oh, looky here. Here's another little, this is going to be, it may be daffodils or it might be a tulip. I'm not exactly sure what that is. And right back there's another little grouping that's going to turn into something beautiful. I see one of my pots back here fell off, and I'll have to redo that one again, but it'll take a while. It'll take a good long while to get it looking good again. But that's part of the fun of it too, just to see it change. A bunch of stuff down here. This is daylilies and iris, and this will be daisies. Got stuff covered with plastic still, some of it is. That usually does help, especially if it's glass or ceramics, to have some plastic over it through the winter so it doesn't have too much trouble with the elements. I noticed that my poor little cactus that's supposed to be hardy may not have been too hardy. But then again, we may end up with enough of them. This one here, at least there's one there, I think, that's going to make it. And they can start all over from one little piece and maybe end up being something really pretty by the end of the season. But I do want to find things, I think, that are a little easier to take care of, not have to be watering everything. So much. I mean, I know I still have to water, and that's fine too. Sometimes it's fun to get out and water, and you get more up close and personal with everything and see what it really needs. And sometimes you notice the insects are on a certain plant. Just see what it needs. So it looks like my find for the day is going to be that Lenten rose. And it won't be long till we'll be really busy in the garden. It's pretty today, but it's kind of windy. I have to have a scarf around my ears today. And just looking forward to when it's all pretty and green and multicolored blooms. We're going to go back now to the 2017 garden so you can see some color. Hi, I wanted to show you the butterflies that came and visited the garden in 2017. This is one of the zinnies with, and I'm not going to say all the names of the butterflies because I will invariably get some of them wrong, but you can go to gardenswithflowers.com and see if you have any questions. That's where I usually go for information for my website when it comes to butterflies. This is the Laura Tall Phlox, which is wonderful for drawing butterflies and bees. And the orange that you see is the Mexican flame vine, and this of course is a zinnia. And the butterflies and hummingbirds, bees, all love those little flowers that gather at the top and make the halo on the zinnias. These are the smaller zinnias called profusion zinnia. They're wonderful in containers. They just fill that container out and keep blooming, especially in the fall. This is a dahlia with a little yellow butterfly on it. That may be a sulfur or a cabbage. I'm not sure which butterfly that is. This is a dahlia with a butterfly on it. And then we're going over to some more zinnias. This one's got two butterflies on it, which I'm usually lucky if I get a picture of two butterflies without scaring one away. This is the zinnia again, going after those little halo zinnias at the top. This is called Double Cosmos. And this is another definitely butterfly love it. This is just a plate of fruit that I set out specifically for the butterflies. If you don't have a fruit tree, like a pear or apricot that will drop fruit, they just love the rotting fruit. So if you put some out for them, they'll almost be sure to come. This is, of course, a monarch butterfly. My favorite colors on the monarch butterfly is the black and white polka dots they use to accessorize. As you can see, they trim and just look so lovely. This is a dianthus, a pink dianthus. And more of the Mexican flame vine. This vine usually blooms about the time the kids go back to school in the fall. That's when it really begins to bloom and shine. And this is a hollyhock, which is another wonderful flower for drawing insects and hummingbirds to your garden. This is on the Mexican flame vine again. These lovely wings catching the sun, making it look like stained glass. So pretty. In the background there is the marigolds, and then the zinnias still in front of that. More zinnias, which is one of my favorite, is the zinnia. This is more of the Mexican flame vine. They really seem to go after this Mexican flame vine this year more than they usually, or they always do. Actually, maybe it just bloomed a little bit more when they were coming through, but they just really loved it, and I got several really good pictures with them on it. It's an annual. It doesn't survive the cold winters here in Oklahoma, but it is a very wonderful plant, and it will grow enough to bloom pretty good by the fall. This is mine. As you can see, it's got several blooms there, and it's grown up about 4 foot tall, even with winding it around its little trellis thing. I would definitely recommend the Mexican flame vine just because it's so bright and pretty. I would normally go for the bright colors, but I love this little soft pink here just as well. I just love flowers. I have a former pastor that said every scripture in the Bible that was his favorite, and that's kind of the way I am with plants. The one I'm talking about or looking at is my favorite, no matter which one it is. This is that double cosmos again. More marigolds. This is another zinnia. And this little skipper butterfly is on a white cosmos. And this is the double golden orange or golden yellow. This little butterfly was just sitting there drying off and waiting his turn in the fruit bowl. This is one of the big swallowtail butterflies. I just love to see them. There's almost always like as big as your hand, and just it's hard to get a good still picture of them though, because they always try to move. They don't keep still very long. You're very lucky if you get one to be still long enough to take a picture. Isn't that like some people we know? This is sedum, and I think this one is brilliant, but I have both the brilliant and the autumn joy, and they're both very pretty. This is keys of heaven, and it's another plant that butterflies love. They actually love any plant with that tiny little flower, like this cluster of flowers at the top of this zinnia, the little halo of flowers. And these, this is the sedum, frosty morn sedum, and again has the tiny little flowers, a big cluster of them, and they just love it.
They always go after it. This is a zinnia, another bright, pretty zinnia. This is marigolds again. And this is on the leaf of one of my clematis vines. And this, of course, is not really a butterfly yet. But when he becomes one, this is the butterfly he will be. This is called Flamingo Feather Celosia, and a friend of mine gave me a start several years ago, and I've been able to keep it going with seed. I've had several each year. And I was lucky to get this little picture too, both butterflies on her wings without them flying off before I got the picture taken. This is another one of the swallowtail butterflies, which, as you can see, its wing is moving there because they just don't like to be still. They're very hyper. This is the garden phlox again, which always draws the butterflies. And this is the blanket flower. I love even when the petals fall off, that little ball that stays is so pretty. This is the cosmos again, the double cosmos. And this is a little hair streak butterfly on a ball zinnia. I love the ball zinnias too. This little cherub was looking so pretty, and this butterfly landed right at her feet, which made a perfect picture. The zinnias always show up more in the fall. They're pretty all year, but especially in the fall. And we're coming to the end of the movie clip now, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly always enjoyed the butterflies in the garden.